Have you ever wondered how the Ukrainian SSR, a major cog in the Soviet Union machine, came into existence? It's a tale that takes us back to the year 1922, a time of tremendous political upheaval and transformation. The Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, or Ukrainian SSR as it was commonly known, was established as a constituent part of the Soviet Union. This was not a mere administrative adjustment or a geopolitical footnote. No, it was a pivotal moment that would weave the destiny of Ukraine into the fabric of the emerging Soviet state. Prior to this, Ukraine had been a region fraught with conflict and strife, its people yearning for stability and prosperity. The establishment of the Ukrainian SSR offered a promise of that stability, albeit under the banner of a new political ideology. The creation of the Ukrainian SSR was a carefully orchestrated process facilitated by the Bolsheviks, the driving force behind the Russian Revolution. They sought to integrate Ukraine into their vision of a socialist federation, a vision that would ultimately manifest as the Soviet Union. This incorporation of Ukraine into the Soviet Union was a significant chapter in the nation's history. It marked the beginning of an era that would see the country undergo dramatic social, economic, and political changes. Ukraine, rich in agricultural resources and industrial potential, was poised to play a crucial role in the Soviet Union's grand scheme. Yet, this union was not without its challenges and controversies. The Ukrainian SSR was a new entity, a fusion of diverse regions with varied histories and identities. The task of unifying these under the Soviet banner was a formidable one, and the journey was fraught with struggles and resistance. But in the end, whether by force or persuasion, the Soviet Union succeeded in incorporating Ukraine. It was a move that would redefine not just the country's political landscape, but also its cultural and social fabric. And thus, the stage was set for Ukraine's journey as an integral part of the Soviet Union. This was the dawn of the Ukrainian SSR, a chapter that would shape the course of Ukraine's history for the rest of the 20th century. A new chapter had begun for Ukraine in 1922. But what did these early years look like? The birth of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic was a time of significant change. As Ukraine became a constituent part of the Soviet Union, it found itself on the precipice of a new era, one that would fundamentally reshape its political, economic, and social landscapes. Politically, Ukraine's integration into the Soviet Union was a process marked by centralization. The Ukrainian SSR was governed by the Communist Party of Ukraine, a branch of the larger All-Union Communist Party. With the establishment of this new political structure, the country's governance was largely dictated by the Kremlin's directives, reflecting the broader Soviet agenda. Economically, Ukraine underwent a rapid transformation. The Soviet Union pursued a policy of rapid industrialization across its territories, and Ukraine was no exception. The 1920s and 1930s saw a shift from a primarily agrarian economy to an industrial one, with a focus on heavy industries such as mining and metallurgy. This period also marked the beginning of collectivization, a controversial policy that saw the consolidation of individual peasant households into collective farms. The social fabric of Ukraine was also deeply affected. Ukrainian language and culture were initially promoted as part of the Soviet Union's policy of Koreanization, an effort to integrate non-Russian nationalities into the Soviet state. However, this policy was later reversed, leading to a period of Russification. Yet amidst these sweeping changes, the spirit of the Ukrainian people remained unbroken. They navigated these tumultuous waters with resilience and adaptability, carving out a distinct identity within the larger Soviet framework. These early years were a time of transformation as Ukraine adjusted to its new status within the Soviet Union. How did the Ukrainian SSR navigate the turbulent waters of the Great Patriotic War? This question takes us into the heart of the storm that was World War II. Here, the Ukrainian SSR was not just a passive observer, but an active participant facing significant challenges and playing a crucial role in the fight against fascism. In the early 1940s, the Ukrainian SSR found itself on the front line of the German invasion. The republic bore the brunt of the initial onslaught, its territory becoming a battleground for some of the war's most savage conflicts. Cities crumbled under the weight of the war machine, and the countryside was scorched in the relentless push and pull of the Eastern Front. The Ukrainian SSR, however, was more than just a battlefield. Its people, its industries, and its resources played a vital role in the Soviet Union's war effort. From the coal mines of Donbass to the steel mills of Dnipro, the Republic's industries kept the wheels of the Soviet war machine turning, even in the face of adversity. But the war's impact was not only physical, it also touched the very soul of the Ukrainian SSR. The war brought a profound sense of unity. As people from all walks of life joined forces to defend their homeland, there was a palpable sense of purpose, a collective will to survive and to overcome. Yet the war also brought immense suffering. Millions of lives were lost, cities and villages were left in ruins. The economy was shattered. The scars of the war were deep and painful, echoing through the decades that followed. Despite these hardships, the Ukrainian SSR emerged from the war with a renewed sense of identity and purpose. It was during this time that the Republic began to assert itself within the Soviet Union, playing a more prominent role in the nation's political and economic life. The Great Patriotic War left an indelible mark on the Ukrainian SSR, shaping its future within the Soviet Union. It was a time of great challenge, but also of great change. In the crucible of war, the Ukrainian SSR was tempered and transformed. In the aftermath of the war, how did the Ukrainian SSR fare, and what led to its eventual separation from the Soviet Union? The post-war years were a period of reconstruction and consolidation for the Ukrainian SSR. The devastation caused by the war was immense, and rebuilding the republic was a Herculean task. The cities were rebuilt, industries were restored, and the agricultural sector was revamped. The Ukrainian SSR rose like a phoenix from the ashes, showcasing the resilience and determination of its people. However, beneath this veneer of recovery, the seeds of discontent were being sown. The policies of centralization and Russification imposed by Moscow were met with increasing resistance. The suppression of the Ukrainian language and culture, the control over economic resources, and the curtailment of political freedoms stirred a yearning for autonomy and independence among the Ukrainian people. The 1980s saw the emergence of a wave of nationalistic sentiment sweeping across the Soviet Union. The policy of glasnost, introduced by Mikhail Gorbachev, opened the doors to public discussion and criticism of the Soviet regime. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 further exposed the failures of the Soviet system, intensifying the push for independence in Ukraine. The final blow, however, came from the economic crisis that gripped the Soviet Union in the late 1980s. The inefficiencies of the planned economy, the arms race with the United States, and the falling oil prices led to a severe economic downturn. The Soviet Union was on the brink of collapse. In December 1991, the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus signed the Belavazia Accords, declaring the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The Ukrainian SSR was no more, and in its place emerged a new, independent Ukraine. The dissolution of the Soviet Union marked the end of the Ukrainian SSR, paving the way for an independent Ukraine. From its inception in 1922 to its dissolution in 1991, the Ukrainian SSR played a significant role in the Soviet Union. But what are the key points to remember? In the dawn of 1922, the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic was established as a constituent part of the Soviet Union. This marked a pivotal moment in Ukrainian history, as it became intricately woven into the fabric of the emerging Soviet state. The early years were a time of consolidation and integration, as the Ukrainian SSR adapted to its new role within the larger socialist framework. Then came the Great Patriotic War, a period of immense hardship and struggle. The Ukrainian SSR was at the heart of the conflict, facing the brunt of the Nazi invasion. Despite the devastating losses and challenges, the Ukrainian SSR played a critical role in the Soviet Union's war efforts. In the post-war years, the Ukrainian SSR experienced significant changes, both socially and economically. It witnessed a period of recovery and growth as it sought to rebuild from the ruins of the war. Yet these years were not without their trials and tribulations, as the Ukrainian SSR grappled with the evolving dynamics of the Soviet Union. Finally, we arrive at the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. This was a turning point, as the Ukrainian SSR broke away from the Soviet Union, paving the way for the independent Ukraine we know today. The dissolution marked the end of an era, closing a significant chapter in Ukrainian history. But the story doesn't end there. The legacy of the Ukrainian SSR continues to reverberate through the annals of history, shaping contemporary Ukraine and influencing its future trajectory. The story of the Ukrainian SSR is a testament to its resilience and adaptability in the face of changing times. As we look back, we gain insights into its complex past and the path that led to the Ukraine we know today.